Good morning and welcome to the Daily Light Devotion. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Tuesday and looking forward to today. That is the 12th of November, not 13th, sorry. Today, encountering the Savior series, we're looking from blindness to boldness. We're going to continue in the story of this blind man. After the blind man received his sight, his healing created both amazement and controversy. The miracle could not be denied, yet the Pharisees refused to celebrate. Instead, they turned the man's testimony into a courtroom interrogation. Their deeper sense because in the Old Testament we saw a lot of miracles happen. Most miracles were there. There's one miracle that didn't happen, that was opening of eyes, because God kept it for Jesus to come. So it was like a revelation that God was opening blind eyes spiritually also and physically. So that's why the Pharisees could not believe, because they must they have read about people being raised from the dead, or all kinds of healing, right? But open eyes they've never seen. So and plus it came from Jesus. It was not the very person they were against. So they wanted to prove Jesus was a sinner because he healed on Sabbath. But the man who once lived in darkness now stood fearlessly in light. Is simply but powerfully confession. One thing I know, that though I was blind, now I see, silenced every accusation. Right. So when Jesus transforms our life, we are no longer need to be in fear of what public people say, or the fear of man, as we say it. Our testimony becomes our defense, and it glorifies God. So verses 13 to 16. So we're looking at John 9, 13 to 34 today. 13 to 16, they brought a man who formerly was blind to the Pharisees. Now it was Sabbath when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Therefore, some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, because he does not keep the Sabbath." Others said, "How can a man who is a sinner do such things?" And there was a division among them. So a miracle changed their tradition. Instead of rejoicing in the healing, the Pharisees argued about rules. Religions often focus on regulations. Jesus focuses on restoration, right? And that's the difference. When God moves, not everyone will understand. We don't need to let our religious arguments, right, distract us from rejoicing in what God has already done. Verses 17 to 23, they said, the blind man, they said to the blind man again, "What do you say about him, because he opened your eyes?" He said, "He's a prophet." But the Jews did not believe concerning him. They called the parents of him and who had received his sight. His parents answered them and said, "We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind, but by what means he now sees, we do not know. His, he is of age, ask him." So the man's parents confirmed the miracle, but avoiding to take a stand for Jesus, because they feared being, cast out of the synagogue, and they lost their, if they're losing their place in the community, would like kind of, they would be tough for them. So the fear of man silenced their witness. Fear of man can make people quiet when they should speak, but faith gives us courage to testify, even if it costs us everything. So verses 24 to 27. So they again called the man who was blind and said to him, "Give God the glory. We know that this man is a sinner." He answered and said, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I know, that though I was blind, now I see." They said to him again, "What did he do to you? He did How did he open your eyes?" He answered them, "I told you already, and you don't listen. Why don't you want to hear it again? Oh, why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciple?" So the healed man spoke with wisdom and confidence. He didn't have theological training, but he had a personal encounter and revelation, and a personal touch of understanding God's love, and that no one could argue against. His testimony was simple, powerful, unshakable. So we don't need to know everything about God, right? To be a witness for Him. We just need to share what he's done in our lives. That's carries power. Verses 28 to 34. Then they reviled him and said, "You are his disciple, but we are Moses' disciple. We know that God spoke to Moses as for his fellow. We do not know where he is from." The man answered and said to them, "Why, this is a marvelous thing that you do not know where he is from. Yet he has opened my eyes. If this man was not from God, he could do nothing." They answered and said to him, "You are completely born in sin, and you are teaching us." And they cast him out. So, though rejected by the religious leaders, the man gained some thing far greater: spiritual sight and bold faith. The same system that once defined him as a beggar and outcast uh, now cast him into becoming someone who stood for the truth. But being rejected by man brought him closer to Christ. So when we stand for truth, rejection will come. It's not that it may come, but it is often the path for deeper revelation of who Jesus is. So, what are the life applications? We do not let fear silence our testimony, right? We need to speak boldly about what Jesus has done, who Jesus is. Remember, the obedience matters more than traditional or man's approval. We need to stand truth in the even when opposition arises, and we need to experience with God. We need to our experience with God is powerful evidence and witness to others. No one can take that from us. A rejection from people often leads us to a deeper encounter with Christ, remember. So it's not bad to be rejected by people. We may face moments where our faith is questioned, our motives are misunderstood, or testimony is doubted, but like this man born blind, we are living a proof of God's grace. Each one of us who's received Jesus as a Lord and Savior. So the world may argue, criticize, and reject, but they cannot deny the changed life, right? We need to keep declaring one thing: I know Jesus changed my life, and even if others cast us out, Jesus will draw us in. So I hope this really encouraged you today. We need to stand firm with our story, which gives God all the glory, right? And so have a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow. God bless each one of you.